Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We have Asta here. Hello, Asta. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Please tell.
I'll ask a question in just 5 2 minutes. I need to make a call, emergent call. I'll just make it and come back to you. Okay.
Okay. No issue. So, very good afternoon to the learners of this particular course, Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. And we have completed our halfway journey, which means that, we have completed 6 weeks of live sessions as well as 6 weeks of content. And now we are approaching the second half of this particular course. And today we'll be discussing about the week 7 and starting with the week 7 till week 12 we'll be having different people, different experts coming in, as well as the examples from the embassy students of IIT Hyderabad Department of Design, who are basically doing assignments in this particular course, and by which we are also trying to understand the different case studies. How do we frame our business model? What about the lean canvas model? And eventually, how do we pitch? What is the sweet spot in which we need to figure out? So, along with the learnings of the various incubators, hand-holding support, right from sign to GDC, right? And eventually, we'll also be learning about the hand-holding supports which are available at the IIT Hyderabad facility for incubation, right? So those things will come as a progressive disclosure. One by one, we'll be understanding and we'll be informed about all those aspects as well. So we'll just wait for a minute or so and then we'll start our session. I'll also join the session through my mobile. I'll put my screen on share. All right. So welcome to the week 7. And week 7 is just give me a minute. I just closed all 13 windows. All right. These are the windows. Great. Once again, very good afternoon to all the learners present here. We are at the week 7 of the course Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. The course instructor is Professor V.K. Chakravarti sir, and we have now reached week 7, which is halfway down the line. And my name is Abhishek Srivastav, and I am the TA for this particular course. Let me briefly describe you about myself. So, from education perspective, I am an architect. I did my bachelor's of architecture from SP Delhi, and after that, I did my master's of industrial design from the same institute. After doing my post graduation, I worked at Infosys and Think Design. So one is an IT company which has a communication design group, and the other one has a design studio, which has branches across India and overseas as well. And after that, I had a brief stint at Entrepreneurship, wherein I was the co-founder of a design startup called Vilava Design, and we ventured into that startup for around 2.5 to 3 years, and slowly I transitioned into my role as an educator. So I was teaching at various design institutes like the World University of Design, SPA Design Department, and the UP Institute of Design. And after working around 8.5 years, both in educator and professional roles, I decided to take up uh, the research route, wherein I joined IIT Roorkee Department of Design as a research scholar. So basically, I am a PhD student as of now, and I'm into my fourth year of my doctoral journey. Okay. So we'll start with the presentation for today. If you have been a regular visitor to this presentation, you would be now aware about how the presentation sequence goes like. So we have a set of sections in each presentation, and we start with the set of protocol slides, which are common slides and which we repeat in each and every session. The idea is that a new learner can join in right at the very first class and even at the very last class, and we have seen that happen in our previous uh, you know tenures of this particular course. So the information which we give in these protocol slides are important, and henceforth we repeat this protocol slides in each and every session, right? So once we are done with the set of protocol slides, we do something called as content recap. Now, content recap is something that is about a visual summary of the course content. So, in the YouTube session, what you see is the video content for each and every session and lecture. Content recap is a visual summary in which we use the snapshots from the videos. The idea is that we get a brief overview of what all has been covered in that particular video content. So, this is also week specific, which is week specific. Right. And once we are done with the content recap, we have the set of 10 questions. And these set of 10 questions are different from the live assignment questions. If you see, week 7 quiz is also live, right? However, the questions which we'll be discussing today will be different, although the content will be same, right? Because we are referring to the week specific assignments. Also, we respond to the queries and questions. So, queries and questions are asked via discussion forum. All those questions are also responded by in the same format via discussion forum. But then we also give the liberty to ask questions in our Gmeet sessions as well as through text message in the chat. However, the most convenient and most preferable way is the discussion forum, which is a feature offered by the NPTEL platform. I'll show you in my subsequent slides how do you utilize that discussion forum, right? So this we have already mentioned about the content recap. although it's not a necessary and a required thing, but what I've realized is that many times the learners do join in without having seen the content. And what I realize is that if you present the content as a visual summary, at least some of the learning goes in. And even if you have already gone through the content, it just, helps you in recollecting what all has been discussed in the current week session, which is the week specific content, right? And henceforth, we have been using the snapshot summary as a content recap. And what we also do is we reinforce our set of 10 questions with the content recap. What I mean is that for every question, we have a screen validation in which we support the question with a content recap. So probably a snapshot of from the course content, which actually supports the correct answer. Okay. So these are certain ethics which we follow in all our sessions. We request everyone to please keep on your mic on mute to avoid any unnecessary noise disturbances, because all these sessions are being recorded and shall be uploaded on YouTube. Now, this is a mandate which has been given by the NPTEL team. It's mandated by NPTEL. Now, again, as you are aware that NPTEL is a very learner-centric platform, so we empathize with the various learners, wherein you might be a student, you might be a professional, you might be an educator, and you might not have time to actually go through each and every problem-solving sessions or even to attend because you might have certain commitments. And that's where NPTEL has given this option wherein whenever you get time, you can actually refer to the YouTube sessions and at your pace as well, because YouTube has this functionality of changing the playback speed. So you can increase it to 2x, you can reduce it to 0.5x, and as per the comfort level, as per your convenience, you can actually see the content, right? You may unmute yourself to speak if you have any questions or while responding. So that is always there. You can raise your hand in the chat box in the Gmate, or you can unmute and speak if you have any question. Or when we have the set of 10 questions where we are asking, we request everybody to share their votes. So it could be in the form of unmuting and speaking, or it can also be in the form of typing your preferred answer in the chat box. Now, what is the preferred channel of asking question? It is the discussion forum which I mentioned about in the previous slide. So where does it appear is yeah. So if you see here, there is something called as ask a question. So when you click here, you'll actually get the flexibility of asking a question. Many of the learners have been using this functionality, and it is really helpful for all of us in the NPTEL community of this particular course, because the discussion forum or DF has three stakeholders. It has the learners who have enrolled for this course. It has a few NPTEL team members as well who monitor the course and the questions, and then me as a TA. So whenever there is a question which is posted, we all three get notification about this. And how it helps me is that when I respond to the question and if I do reply all, then my input goes to all, right? So it's a very efficient way of resolving the queries, because there is a possibility that the question you are asking might be there in the minds of other learners as well. And if you ask that question, if you respond to it, then everybody are clear on that question. So everybody are co-planar. We are on the same plane and there is no confusion altogether. Now, the aspect of discussion forum was very much helpful during very recent question on week 5, question 10, wherein one of the learners said that the answer which is provided is incorrect, and since that was posted on discussion forum, so all the learners actually got informed about it. And I've also replied saying that this has been raised with the NPTEL team. So they are doing the background check, they are trying to validate and reach out the respective team. And we hope whatever outcome of this particular question is, we'll be informing all the learners, and they should not be worried about the marking, because if it is a case of wrong answer, then everybody will be remarked for that particular question, right? What you see here is basically your login page. So once you log in, you'll be able to see your login mail ID, and on the left hand side you have widgets about certification and registration. On the top you have these heads which are announcement about the course, and ask a question, progress, mentor, and review assignment. So announcement section is critical, and I would suggest that all of you please be a regular visitor to this particular section, because all the critical information are available here only, be it your assignment scores or release of the answer key, and eventually it will be a place where you will be informed about the hall ticket as well. Although these information will be available on your email as well, but here also we'll announce when the hall tickets have been mailed, right? So it's usually 1 week or 2 week prior to the examination, so need not to worry about it from now. Correct. So recording and presentation location. So as I mentioned that all these sessions are being recorded and they are being uploaded on YouTube. So I've taken up this course since the last couple of times, and all those sessions are also available here. So if you visit here, you'll be able to see the recent ones as well as the past live sessions, and the presentations which we are showing these live sessions are basically PPTs, PowerPoint presentations, which are converted to PDFs, and these PDFs which are annotated as well. Let's upload. Okay, so no need to worry about these huge links because you can directly access it using your portal. So there is something called as problem solving session, and there's a link here. When you click on the link, it will lead you to another page which will say click here. Yes, there are many clicks involved, but once you click here, you will be directed to a page which will be like a spreadsheet, right? Uh, Spreadsheets are basically like Excel sheets which have table and columns. So these are the tables, and for each week, the content is available from week 1, week 2, week 3, and likewise. So since the YouTube links are week specific, so you'll be having separate YouTube links for each and every week. However, the PDFs are recorded and uploaded on a common drive, right? So that drive is common, and you can actually access that drive location for all PDFs right from week 1 till the current week. So up till now, you'll be able to see the content for from week 1 to week 6. And once we are done with this session, probably today or tomorrow, you'll be able to see the week session YouTube video as well as the PDF. Both will be available by tomorrow. All right. So I think all those of you who are regular to this particular course, I think this information you would have already received, was just for our new learners. It's understanding incubation and entrepreneurship. The instructor is Professor V.K. Chakravarti sir, who was a professor at IDC School of Design, IIT Bombay, and he was also heading the DIC there, which is the Design Innovation Center. And he is currently taking care of the Department of Design at the Mahindra University, city at Hyderabad. So he is currently positioned there and he's taking care of the School of Design there. The course is 12 weeks duration and the assignment deadline for week 7 is 12th of March. So still have 4 days left. If you have not submitted the assignment, please submit it before the deadline. Another interesting aspect about these deadlines are that you can submit the responses any number of times, right? So it can be submitted any number of times till the deadline is over. So for example, if the deadline is 12th of March, I can submit my assignment today. Say for example, 2 days later, I realize that one of the questions I responded incorrectly, I can change my response and I can resubmit it. So that resubmission of the responses can happen any number of times till the deadline is not reached. Okay. Once the deadline is over, then it will be frozen, whatever choices we have made, and you will be marked accordingly. Okay. The final examination date, as per NPTEL, is 27th of March. It will either happen in the pre-lunch slot or the post-lunch slot. It will be conducted in a physical exam center at one of the designated examination venues based on your preferred choices. So during the registration process, if you have registered, you would have been asked about what are the preferred venues for the examination, and one of that choice will be met. This is dependent on the number of learners who are enrolling, number of learners who are appearing for some exam in that particular center. So there are various factors, and pre-lunch, post-lunch slot also is dependent on that. So once you have registered for the examination, you will receive an admit card or a hall ticket. And just like any other examination, you'll have to bring certain uh, photo ID proof along with the hall ticket to appear for the examination. Now, there are certain more details about this particular thing, which we'll be discussing in the extra session. What do you mean by extra session? So, like week 1 to week 12, we are having one session every day at Saturdays 3 to 5 p.m. After the week 12 content is over, we have discussed that we'll be having 1 hour extra session. All right. And that we'll plan. The day is not decided, but we'll plan some day before your final examination. And that 1 hour will be about what are the do's and don'ts, how you should prepare for the examination, right? What are the important aspects before you go for your examination. And we'll also have set of 10 questions. Okay. So you will get a good repository of sample questions through our live sessions. So please join these live sessions, and if not, do visit it through our YouTube link. So this is how the progress page looks like. It has a unit-wise progress. It has assessment scores. Now, unit-wise progress basically means the content which I've already seen. So the blue highlight is basically you have already seen. आपने वो content खोल लिया है, you have gone through the content and you have seen it. Okay. The remaining gray means that that particular amount of content is left to be seen. Okay, so if you've gone through each and every video, this would ideally be 100%. And if you have not clicked certain link of, say, for example, there are 3 video contents and you have just, gone through just one, then probably it will be half or 1/3 of it. Okay. Likewise, the assignment progress will also be there. So if you are submitting your assignments, it will be all filled. Okay. Now, assessment scores is basically your scores based on live quizzes. These are basically week wise quiz, which is present in the assignment section, right? So every week there is an assignment section, and we have to submit those quizzes, and they are being evaluated for your final marks. So the course is free to enroll and learn from, which means that anybody who wants to learn about the course, who wants to pursue entrepreneurship or understand about incubation, can actually register and enroll for the course. But if you want a certificate, then you will have to register for the examination, and you will have to present yourself at one of the exam centers. You have to give the examination, and you have to qualify and meet the criteria of marking so that you can get the certificate. Okay. So we'll get into that slide of certification and marking, because that is also very critical. How the marks are being evaluated for your internal or week-wise assignments, as well as your final examination, which will be a physical examination. Now, although these dates have already gone by, but just for your reference, there was an examination fee of rupees 1000 till Feb 24th. There was a late fee applicable if you had registered by Feb 28th. There was also an extension given till March 3. Okay, so already we are at March 8, so I'm not sure whether further extension is given or not, but till March 3, the extension was given to register. So I'm hoping that if you're doing this course for certification, if you have a credit requirement at your college, or if this is like an FTP requirement as a design educator, I hope that you have registered for the course, and you're preparing for your final exam. All right, good. Now comes the certification criteria. Now this is important because it follows certain marking qualifying criteria in order for you to receive the certificate. I'll give you a minute to please read what is written here, and then I'll explain with some examples. Okay. All right. So the first thing is about internals. What do you mean by internals? Internals are basically your week-wise assignments which you have to submit before a deadline. Okay, on the NPTEL platform. Now we consider only the best eight. So there are total 12 assignments. So we'll be considering only the best eight, the best performances, the best eight performances, and we'll try to derive the weightage out of 25%. Okay. Then comes your external, which is being conducted in a physical exam center. So you'll be going to that exam center examination venue, and you'll be appearing for that in an invigilated examination. And the weightage given is 75%, because yes, you have to go there and you have to sit for the 3 hour examination. So that we derive the total of 100% marks. Now, all these have certain criteria, which means your internal score needs to be greater than 10. External needs to be greater than 30, so that your overall score is greater than 40. What it means is that if you are scoring 15, if you are scoring 45, your overall score is 60 out of 100. This scenario is fair enough because you are meeting this criteria, and you have overall met this criteria. So this is the scenario which is the safe scenario, which is obviously it will work out Now imagine another scenario wherein you score 20 out of 25, you score 25 out of 75, but you score 45 out of 100. Now you have met this criteria which is greater than 10. You have failed this criteria which is greater than 30. Your overall score is again met, which is 45, which is way above 40. But since you have not met this particular criteria, no certificate will be given. Let's take another scenario. You have your score, say 5 out of 25, and here you scored brilliantly, you scored 60 out of 75. Your score is 65. So, you're meeting this criteria, you have met this criteria, but you have failed this criteria. Again, no certificate. So, what we are trying to say here is that please give due emphasis to your internals, prepare well for your externals so that you qualify and you do not get involved in these tricky scenarios of minimum criteria, right? So that your overall score is way above 40 and you can easily get a certificate. Even certifications are of various types. There is silver, there is gold, there is elite, depending upon the marks you have got. Marks receipt. You get that type of certificate. So if there is any question up till now, you can please ask. All right, so this is how we have progressed from week 1 to week 4. We started with the very basic aspects of what entrepreneurship is, why startups are failing, what are the mistakes by startups. Then we had a panel session with Anurag, Amit, and Mayuri from three different domains who are about part of GTC, and they shared their stories, their turning points, their success mantras, and their suggestions for the new entrepreneurs. Then we came to the aspect of methodology of innovation, which was about Chakku's 7C or the seven concerns as shared by Professor V.K. Chakravarti sir. We also had a problem statement presentation. This was followed by the ideas program, which is available at the IIT Bombay. Solar Oven case study by Mr. Avinash, who is again a alumni of IIT Bombay, and IIT Hyderabad MTech Students Project from the BO Department of Design. Then we reached the week 5, where we discussed about medtech success stories. Professor Ravi was taking charge of it. Then came the human-centered innovation, where we had Ms. Shilpi from the Coach Labs and Mr. Dhayan from the F1 Studios, and they shared their perspectives, their opinions, their challenges, and their experience in these particular week 6. And then at week 7, we are at humanizing technology and the business model canvas, which is beautifully explained by Dr. Foster, who is also a writer, founder, and a thinking coach. And then we have a very fascinating this thing, additional learning materials. So if you have not gone through it, please do read about it. Please do visit it. It's a very fantastic case study, something which even the abroad institutions have come and learned about the model. How does it work? How they have been able to heal so many people at less cost but high quality. It's a very interesting and a beautiful case study of Aravind Eye Care. Please do it. In fact, few of the startups abroad have tried to adopt the Aravind model. Okay, so it's a very interesting case study. All right. So we have two typology of questions, and I think by now you can actually be aware of what the two. One is having a single correct answer, and one is the multi select, which means that if there is a question with the circular shaped option, which means it's a single correct answer. So you can select only one of them, right? However, when you see a square box, it means there's a multi-select answer wherein there are multiple correct options. So I can select two of them, or I can select three of them, or if there's a possibility, I can select all four of them. Okay, so that functionality is available. Okay, I think we have a learner who has a question. Yes, you may please ask your question, then we'll proceed further.
It's something regarding, it's not related to the presentation, but I have a different personal question that I had while studying the course. Shall I ask it right now?
Yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
So while doing the course, we were asked to take up a problem statement that we are also working upon. So I'm a college student and I'm also studying design as a course. So in my design studio class, as a team, we took up a problem statement, which where we were supposed in a problem statement to keep it more crispier and to have add all the causes that we are going to work upon, right? So the problem statement that we were given was from a professor, but I was not very convinced with the problem statement. And now I have realized kind of somewhere that maybe the problem statement have a lot of issues with it because the problem statement isn't telling us what exactly we are supposed to do and what problem that we are focusing upon. Um, should I send the problem statement in the chat? I just want to discuss about it that how can I improve the problem statement so I can work upon it further.
Yeah, you can post it. You can actually look and see. So you are a design student or you have a BTech background?
I'm a design student. I'm doing my bachelor's.
अच्छा कहाँ से कर रहे हैं आप?
Product industrial. LPU.
Okay, okay. So this course you are doing as a part of your learning or it's an academic requirement?
I'm doing it for my learning.
Okay. Sleep improvement product for late night work. Design a product that helps students involved in society activities manage sleep hygiene while staying productive at late night. So is this thing written by you or it has been given by your professor?
Given by my professor.
Okay, so what is not convincing you? I mean, what is the trouble which you are facing?
Actually, the problem statement, like while we were doing the user research, I was quite surprised that nobody's interested in the product, to be very fair. It's more like that their simple answer was if we are supposed to sleep at time or if we are supposed to work, we would be doing the same. No kind of product can convince us to do the needful that we are supposed to do, right? So for me, I was very convinced with their answer. It's more like that the product that we are supposed to work upon is the students or maybe what do you say, working professionals who are supposed to be working late at night and be productive with their work. They're not able to do it, or maybe they have to compromise with their sleep. So somewhere we are supposed to design a product which can be helpful to make them as effective as they are at day. But how is the product is like how product is supposed to be there, like I'm not able to understand. And it's also counts as that we are supposed to add society in it to make them productive through societal activities. I don't understand this. How we are just combining all of that. Like you're also focusing on sleep improvement, then you also want your work to be productive, and then you're also adding society activities. These are like totally three different domains,
Hmm.
if I'm able to explain.
See, the thing is that it's a problem statement given by a professor, so I cannot comment on whether it is right, wrong. It's not right on my part. It's
Like
something.
for me it's more AI generated, to be very honest. It's somewhere it is.
Maybe. I mean, let's not get into how it is generated, how it is created.
Okay.
But I think what you can do is you try to follow the design process, and once you have the user insights, then probably you'll be able to convince that what is the right product or what is the right solution. So what you can do is you can create a persona. You create a user persona, and you write down all those aspects. Right. I think user persona ka lecture has already happened in one of the weeks. Because when you have a
Mm.
basis, then probably you'll be able to justify what your thought process is or what your final outcome is.
I think the only reason that I accepted to work upon this was this only, that let's go with the flow only. But now the problem is coming, like when we did the user research and user flow, it was more like from the user side itself that they don't want a product. Like even if it's there, they don't want to use it, because eventually if you are going to design some kind of what do you say, some bedding space or something where someone is actually trying to sleep at day or maybe at night with that efficiency, like using some kind of brain frequency to give that effective sleep. I don't know. I'm like still in the that ideating phase, but like for the users, when we did the user research, they were more like that we are able to manage with the amount of sleep that we are sleeping, so we don't need the product.
Yeah. See, the thing is, let me give you an example. Now, many a times there are certain cases wherein the user might not be able to tell you that what is it that they need. For example, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the time when the Ford company was being established, Henry Ford had a very interesting statement to say. He said that if I would have asked people what they wanted at that particular stage in time in the history, people have said, we want faster horses because horse was the mode of transport. People used to take horses to commute. So अगर उस टाइम उन्होंने पूछा होता आपको क्या चाहिए तो लोगों ने बोला होता मुझे और तेज भागने वाला we would have opted for better faster horses. So many a
Mm-hmm.
times it is not the user who are actually realize what is needed. अगर उस डायरेक्शन में सोचते तो कुछ नहीं हो पाता, but then he came up with the four wheeler automotive, and then he succeeded, and then the entire automotive industry got established. So this is at a time I'm referring to the Henry Ford, and the Ford automotive was being established. Similarly,
Mm-hmm.
जो iPad का भी story है वो वैसा ही है. It is somewhere between mobile and a laptop, right? If you go about
Uh,
asking whether you need it or not, people won't say yes, I need it. It's only when you have a particular use case, you will bring out the solution, people will start appreciating it, then वो adoption करवाएगा. ठीक है? So there is a possibility when if you make a product that well and if it addresses their problems and needs, probably that acceptance will also work out. ठीक है, तो अभी हम negate नहीं कर सकते कि they don't need it इसलिए हम नहीं बनाएंगे. Probably they don't realize the importance of it. Probably they don't realize the effectiveness of it. And if you are able to highlight the problem better, that if you when you don't get enough sleep, this is what happens, right? तो जब आप उसको आप
mhm.
हेल्थ के दृष्टिकोण से देखोगे, you take that factor into account and then you explain to the user, then that product acceptance starts happening.
Okay, yeah, I think that's better.
ठीक है, so go with the flow, follow the design process, and you will get certain outcomes. So if you're keeping your end user in loop, you will be able to get a better outcome.
Okay, I think that's all. Thank you so much.
Okay, then. Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, so let's continue our flow of presentation. So, marking of the multiple choice questions. So, every time you get quizzes for every week, and those weeks you are marked for all those questions, but the marking has a hidden criteria to it. It is not very explicit, but I think in the announcement or in the detail section, you might be able to get it. So there are three underlying principles by which you are marked for your question. And I would request you to please read it, and I'll just take an example and I'll explain this. All right. So the question is, which among the below are located in Delhi? So the correct answers are Lotus Temple, Red Fort, and India Gate. Gateway of India is not located; it's there in Bombay, right? So these are the correct responses for this particular question. Okay. Now, what we'll do is we'll take each scenario and we'll try to understand how the marking criteria works. So first one says, if all options chosen by the student are correct and no incorrect answer has been chosen, then full marks. It basically means I selected A, I selected B, and I selected D, and I submitted, I get full marks. Let's take scenario 2, which says if at least one incorrect answer has been chosen, then no marks are awarded. So, which basically means if I select A, B, and C and I submit, if I selected B, C, and D, I submitted. If I selected A, C, or B, C, or C, D. Okay. Since each of these have C as one of the options, which is an incorrect one, I won't get any marks. No marks. Coming on to the scenario 3, which says if only correct answers are chosen, but not all correct answers have been chosen, then partial marks. Which means that if we select A, B, and if we submit it, if we select B and D and we submitted it, if we selected A, submitted B or D, like individually also we submitted, in these scenarios, we'll get some partial marks. So if we selected two correct options, we might get 0.66, one correct answers, 0.33. Okay. So if you're getting marks in decimal, it's because of this particular rule, which is about proportionate marking. You will be given marking as per the correct proportions which you have chosen in your correct answers. Okay. If there is any doubt in this particular question, you may please ask. Okay.
It's clear.
All right. All right. So these were the top GPAT learners in our previous week. So many congratulations to all those who have been consistent, who have been visiting and attending these sessions. Ankush, Ishrar, Satish, Meher, Samyukta, Priyadarshini, and Bhavna. Well done. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll skip the content recap. We'll utilize it at the end of the session. First, we will do the set of 10 questions. Okay. So we will revisit it. That's something which we'll do. But first, we'll have the set of 10 questions. And after that, we'll do a content recap. Okay. Okay. So here is our first question. As discussed in the module Business Model Canvas by Professor Kaustubh Dhargalkar, how was the manufacturing issue solved in case of wristband designed for speech and hearing impaired? So basically, he had two students who were working on this particular idea of wristband for the speech and hearing impaired. And when they were working upon this area, they were facing huge challenges because of the manufacturing issue. So, how did they solve this issue? You've got four options: by making the product open source, by creating a cloud platform, by reducing the features of the product, and all of the above. Okay, so it's a square box, which means it's a multi correct answer question. Multiple correct answers. Take your time and let me know. You can type in your correct choices in the chat box and we'll see what is the correct answer. Manufacturing issue solved in case of wristband designed for speech and hearing impaired. So if you recall the case, it was for the homemakers. That was the context given in homemakers, where the students had to play a shadow role. They had to see how the homemaker is working around in the home. So he gave examples like, how she used to be around the kitchen when she was cooking, because keep in mind the context, which is she was speech and hearing impaired, right? So she could not hear the sounds of the whistle of the cooking stove. So that is where she had to be around kitchen when she is cooking. And whenever the bell rang, she was unaware. So those were the issues, right? So they came up with a wristband solution, which could have Bluetooth, and the home appliances. They thought they can actually add Bluetooth in it so that the two can communicate with each other. And they had a very basic funda wherein they added certain lights to the wristband. It's just like your smartwatch, right? Just like your smartwatches. And there was a green light, yellow light, and orange light, and they had given certain guidelines. So which light will blink, or whenever there is a doorbell, then this light. So there was a indexing given, which light will blink at what stage. So you need to tell what is the correct answer. Was it by making the product open source? Was it by creating a cloud platform? Was it by reducing the features of the product, or all of the above? Remember, it's a multi correct answer. There could be multiple right answers of it. We do a wristband, which is Bluetooth enabled. We have got one vote for option D. Okay. Anybody else who would want to vote? Okay, let's validate the solution. So if you see, this is the product. This is the hand, right? And this is the product. This is the wristband. And if you see, these are the lights which it was having. So there was one light here, and then there was one light here, and one light here. Okay. So first was they utilize a cloud platform for the data upload, and then they were having APIs for the wristband. They were selling it to the big companies, and by making and pitching that they can make their products inclusive. So that was the pitch. It took a while to get Siemens on board, but the moment Siemens was on board, they all three also were approached. Right? So the correct answer is A and B, which is by making the product open source, so anybody can actually make it, and by creating a crowd platform. Option A and option B. These are the correct ones. Right? Let's proceed to our next question. What are some of the key insights of the business model approach as discussed in Module 7 by Professor Kaustubh Dhargarkar? A. Shift the paradigm of your thinking. Think positively, think platforms in terms of scalability, and shift your plan in the future. Here we are requesting the key insights as per Professor Kaustubh on business model approach. So take your time, think the correct answer. What could be the right answer among the four options? Again, it's a square box, which means there are multiple correct answers. Insights of the business model approach by Professor Costo. And the options are shift the paradigm of your thinking, think positively, think platforms, and shift your plan in the future. Any votes for this particular question? A, B, C, and D? Okay, let's see the screen validation. Your first idea may not be the best one. Okay, so that's one of the important takeaways. So, shift the paradigm of your thinking, a different way to reach the customers. Don't think product, think platforms. Think beyond hardware, more avenues for monetization. Okay, so the correct answer is shift the paradigm of your thinking, which is option A. Shift the paradigm of your thinking and think platforms, think scalability. If you go back, if you see, it says shift the paradigm of your thinking. Don't think products, think platforms. All right. So correct answers are A and C for this particular question. Let's proceed further. According to the module 7, humanizing technology is about making technology work for users, being empathetic to the needs of customers, both A and B, and none of the above. Please note that this is a single correct answer question. The single correct answer question. Humanizing technology. Humanizing technology is about making technology work for users, being empathetic to the needs of users, both A and B, and none of the above. Take your time. We are talking about humanizing technology. Is it about making technology work for users, being empathetic to the needs of customers? Is it both A and B, which means making technology work for users as well as being empathetic to the needs of the customers, and A and B as well as none of the above? Okay, let's do the screen validation. Humanizing technology is about making technology work for users. यानी कि technology should work for the users, being empathetic to the needs of the customers, which means we should make technology work for the users, and second, being empathetic to the needs of the customers. So whatever the needs of the customers are, we have to empathize with that. So the correct answers are A and C, both are correct. So sorry, A and B both are correct. So if I have to select, I'll select C, which is both A and B. यानी कि making technology work for users and being empathetic to the needs of the customer. Okay, let's come to question number 4. Among the following, which of these questions have to be touched upon to remain in the sweet spot according to Professor Costello? How do we source our manpower? How do we optimize our operations? How do we reach the customer? And how do we provide solutions to organization? So we are talking about the sweet spot. Sweet spot का मतलब it's like the safe spot, है ना, where you get work, you are like managed well, सारी चीजें सुचारू रूप से चल रही हैं, सही चल रही हैं. That is what the sweet spot is. So in order to be in the sweet spot, what questions have to be touched upon? How do we source our manpower, which is the HR human resource? How do we optimize our operations? How do we reach the customer? And how do we provide solutions to the organizations? Right? So take your time, let me know what is the correct answer. Take your time and let me know the answer of this question. Let's do the screen validation. Hmm. If you see here, yes, let's start with how do we reach the customer? That is, how are we reaching the customer? How do we optimize our operations? How do we source our manpower? How do we source our inputs? Can be raw materials as well. What kind of tie-ups should we see? Tie-ups, collaborations, right? How do we create an optical product mix, right? So this is the business innovation model innovation framework. The correct answers to the questions are A, B, and C, which are how do we source our manpower? How do we optimize our operations? And how do we reach the customer? Let's proceed further. According to Professor Costa, early adopters is theoretically any customer who has a dire, this is the first blank, and willingness to the second blank, referring to the early adopters. So the options are requirement purchase, demand take risk, need experiment, and necessity and learn. Okay. We're talking about early adopters, right? Early adopters and who has a dire and willingness to is it dire requirement and willingness to purchase? Is it dire demand and willingness to take risk? Is it dire need and willingness to experiment? And is it dire necessity and willingness to learn? Let's validate it. So he says, who is your early adopter? Theoretically, any customer who has a dire need and willingness to experiment qualifies be your early adopter. So one who is in a dire need and who is ready and willing to experiment, right? So the correct answer is having a dire need and willingness to experiment. All right. So correct answer is option C. Let's take our sixth question. Which of the following schemes was applied to the NetJet case study as discussed by Professor Kostov? NetJet case study. Options given to you are fractional ownership. Fraction, what do you mean by fraction? Parts. Business ownership scheme, NetJet ownership scheme, and holistic ownership scheme. We'll have a minute to respond to this question. We are talking about the scheme which was applied to the NetJet as discussed by Professor Costa. Was it the fractional? Was it business ownership? Was it NetJet ownership scheme? And was it holistic ownership scheme? Okay, let's do this screen validation. So we're talking about the NetJet scheme. It was about the fractional ownership. So the idea was jets are something which are not available by every common man. It's basically it is sold to the super rich people like the Ambanis, Adanis, Tatas. But they figured out that the lower level of it, which he mentioned about Harsh Mariwala, Kishore Biyani, they are also very very busy, but they can't wait for commercial airlines, but they need it, but they cannot just spend crores in just owning it. So they tapped into this particular gap of fractional ownership, which means given the number of amount we are putting in, you will own the craft for that period of time, which means you're having one uniform fleet where they're taking up the maintenance of the pilots and in-crew flag maintained by the NetJet people. All the ground crew was maintained by the NetJets. So the bulk negotiation with one company led to a better deal with the aircraft. So it is the fractional ownership. And what did they mean by fractional ownership? The amount of money these people are putting in reference to that proportion, they will be owning the craft. All right. So the correct answer is A, which is fractional ownership scheme. Okay, fractional ownership. Let's go further now. As mentioned by Professor Costa in Module 7, any solution must take care of these three aspects. What are the three aspects? Is it convenience, reliability, market cost, viability, desirability, and validity, feasibility, manageability, reliability, and desirability, feasibility, and viability? So I believe that this you have already, gone through it. It's already there. And as a design student, one can actually get the right answer very easily. We are talking about the sweet spot or the Venn diagram. What is the main overlap? The solution must take care of what are the three aspects. You have to tell us that. Take your time. Let me know what could be the right answer. Just give a thought to it and let me know.
எடுங்கப்பா. கவி அப்படியே செல்ஃபி எடுக்கலாம்.
Referring to the three aspects which has to be taken care as per Professor Costa. And what according to you is the correct answer? You can please vote in. We have got four options. And since it's a single correct answer, only one choice is correct. Got one vote. Okay. Anybody else who would want to share your perspective? Let's see. Let's see the screen validation. So it says pivot till you reach the sweet spot, and sweet spot is something which is at the intersection of three things, which is user needs, business goals, and operational possibilities, which is basically desirability, viability, and feasibility. So desirability comes in terms of humans, whether they desire it or not. Viability from the business point of view, and feasibility from a tech point of view. Okay. So this is the sweet spot right at the middle. All right. So the correct answer is D, which is desirability, feasibility, and viability. Right. Let's come to our eighth question. As an early startup venture, an entrepreneur should focus upon which of these factors, as discussed in the business model canvas by Professor Costa? Is it the reach, market options, customization, or practicality of the solutions? So you need to imagine yourself as an early startup venture. And as an entrepreneur, we should focus upon which factors. So, what are the factors you should focus upon? Something which they are asking. Think and let me know. Just grab water and come. So, if there are any votes for this particular question, so one vote is for option C, one vote is for option D. Let's see. Let's see what the screen validation looks like. It says in your venture, take a call based on your reach and practicality of the situation. Don't just go by theoretical definition. If this is the one thing I want you to think when you will fill your lean canvas, you want to generate a cash flow as soon as you start up. Cash flow as I mean, the monetary aspect should be available with you. Okay. So it should be based on your reach and practicality of the situation, which is D, which is practicality, and A, which is the reach. Okay. So, entrepreneurs should focus upon reach and practicality of the situation, which is desirous of having a cash flow as soon as you start. Let's come to our ninth question. As per the examples Zara, Xiaomi, shared by Professor Kostov, these examples explain how a dash can differentiate you from competition. Okay, the blanks are business model, lean canvas, marketing strategy, and store design. You have to tell the correct answer to it. Is it the business model that can differentiate you from the competition? Is it the lean canvas that can differentiate you? Or the marketing strategy or the store design? Now, this needs to be told in the context of Professor Kostov for the module 7. Okay. And the examples are Zara and Xiaomi. Take your time, think, and let me know what would be the correct answer. How Dash can differentiate you from the competition? Competition क्या होता है? Competition is स्पर्धा. We have got one more for business model. Other options were lean canvas, marketing strategy, and store design. And since it's a circular one, which means only one correct answer, let's do the screen validation. Okay. So these examples explain how business model can differentiate you from competition. Okay, so business model is very critical because we saw there were three different business model talked about. One was the double whammy, one was fractional ownership, and I think the other was perceived shortage, which he told the example of Zara, right? So they've mentioned about how different business models can help you. So the correct answer is option A. Well answered by the learner. It's the business model. All right. Now comes question number 10. As explained by Professor Kostov Hargarkar in Module 7, Zara's perceived shortage business model is evident by dash fashion cycle. The options are given in multi-select, so there are multiple correct answers. Is it the monthly fashion cycle, 90-day fashion cycle, limited window fashion cycle, and unlimited sale fashion cycle? All right. What to tell me? Business model is evident by what type of fashion cycle? If you remember, he gave an example of Zara, how the fashion works out at Zara, how it moves from one place to another place from Asia, sorry, Africa, Europe, right? We'll see from the screen validation, but you need to tell me what could be the right answers for this question. This is as explained by Professor Costa. Zara's perceived shortage business model is evident by which type of fashion cycle? Is it monthly? So every month they have a fashion cycle. Is it 90 days, which is approximately 3 months, 3 months, limited window, which means there is a short window in which things will come and go unlimited sale. Take your time. Let me know the correct answer. Got one vote for monthly and one vote for unlimited. Okay. Okay. Let's do the screen validation then. So he had given an example of Zara. It's one of the fashion brand. It's a very renowned fashion brand, and they have a 90-day fashion cycle. Okay. They have a 90-day fashion cycle, and 90 days the fashion changes, creating a perceived shortage, which means they create an impression that after 90 days you won't be able to find the same stock which is available there. Okay. Fitch says a loyal European customer of Zara visits 17 times, whereas the competition only 7 to 8 times. It's because of this perceived shortage. If you like a particular clothing bad of the mind, you know the particular style has a limited window. So you end up picking two in different colors instead of one because that item will go in next 3 months. Now, the 90-day cycle is not matched everywhere in the world. So fashion rotates to Asia and then to Africa. Completely planned business structure at play perfected over 40 years. So the fashion first is at the Europe, then it goes to Asia. After 90 days, it goes to Africa. So it keeps on rotation, right? So you never know whether the stock would be remaining by the time it reaches here or not. Okay, so that is also there. By this time, probably the stock gets over also. All right. So this is how they create a perceived shortage, and even the examples which they gave for Xiaomi also, they have this flash sales, which create a sense of perceived shortage that it will be available for a very short time, short period of time, and it will go. Okay. So the correct answer to this question is B, which is the 90-day cycle, which is approximately 3 month cycle, and C, which is the limited window. All right. So with this, we complete our set of 10 questions. Now we have got sufficient time left. And what we'll do is first we'll go through the discussion forum, and then we'll go to our content recap. And then we will also see from the portal, the NPTEL portal, what are the different repositories. Okay. So if we talk about the questions by discussion forum, I think the first 5 questions were already discussed. You can just take a while and see what were the responses given. So it started with understanding the right spelling of entrepreneur, which is Entrepreneur, which was followed by, one of the learners' college was pushing to take up this particular course. So that is something which is not in our jurisdiction, right? Then came a few questions about startup and what is the examples of good product-based startup and service-based startup. And this was highlighted by given examples in which the product-based startups build and sell physical or a digital product like Nika and Ola Electric, Voiceboard. Service-based they offer a service to their clients like Urban Clap, Ola Cabs, and Infosys and companies, IT companies. Okay, I think this is also we have discussed in our past. So these are the new ones. There is no text description. So the videos which you are seeing in the video content, they clearly have a timestamp and they are in English. The video content is in English. If you want to refer to the subtitles, you can utilize the YouTube functionality by switching on the subtitle. Okay, so that is also there. Then there was a question on human-centered approach. So it's basically about prioritizing the needs and experiences of the user, which is about keeping user at the center, human at the center of the entire design process. However, there's another term which is called planet-centered design, which is also getting famous, which means that you're also taking care about the planet. It's not just human; it is about planet, which means we need to be thoughtful about what kind of products we are making so that it does not impact the ecology, the water, the river, the air, right? So we have to think and move beyond the human-centered approach to a planet-centered approach. Having said that, actually, more learning can be taken up from the interaction design link, which has been already shared in this particular response. Okay. There was a question about the next meeting. So we are meeting every Saturday, 3 to 5 by Gmeet. The links are shared with the learners through our announcement section as well as through an email which is triggered every Friday. So I believe all of you would have received the message for this particular meeting as well. Uh, then we have what is a comprehensive design brief to ensure project success. So very recently in week 5, we saw how do they frame the problem statement, and it should not point to a solution. It must go to the root cause, right? And then there was point number 13 in which one of the learners said that the week 5 question 10 has some issue, and we are referring to this particular question. We have taken up this question with the NPTEL team, and they'll be reverting back soon in this regard, whether the question is right or not, whether the answers are right or not, and eventually we'll decide upon what could be the future trajectory of whether there will be a remarking or whether the option is correct or not. Right. So the question was about what are the best practices for defining the functional requirements of a project. The options given were conducting thorough stakeholder interviews to gather insights, ignoring end user feedback and relying on assumptions, prioritizing features based on developer convenience, and overlooking the project scope and timeline. So if you see the options, like ignoring end user feedback is obviously not the right option. Overlooking the project scope and timeline, that is also not correct. Prioritizing feature based on developer convenience, although this is given the right answer, but I also feel that this is not the right answer because you cannot prioritize feature on someone else's convenience, right? It's not about developer convenience; it is about the user convenience. User is the main focus in this particular course. It's about customer discovery, customer validation, potential customers, target users. We are all circling around the user part, and that's coming in our first option as well, conducting thorough stakeholder interviews to gather the insights. So let's see. I mean, what answer is being referred to by the NPTEL team, and we'll get back onto it. Yeah. So with that, we conclude the slide deck. Although we have 20 minutes remaining, and we'll just go through the content recap as we have mentioned about. We did not refer to the content recap. Yeah. So I'll just browse through it. I mean, whenever there is a need, I'll just speak, or you can just have a quick look at it because it's more like a visual summary, right? We are just going through it once again so that you are brushing up your own revision. It's more like a revision activity. Okay. So this is about the IDC School of Design, the kind of courses they have. So those who are not aware, BTES stands for Bachelor of Design, MTES stands for Master of Design, and PhD is Doctor of Philosophy, and then there are minor programs. This is the building of IDC. We had a question on this humanizing technology, which is making technology work for the users and being empathetic to the needs. So empathizing with our customers. So these are the Shenoy brothers who have funded the Shenoy Innovation Studio. Synectics is taking analogies from other areas to come up with new ideas. So this is about ideation, and he gave the examples of the trimmers. So these are the examples of the trimmers in which the students had to visit different departments, and on the basis of that, they came up with the ideations of to have a be a removal. So, selecting to be creative, put the watchman in your mind to sleep. The mind takes the path of least resistance, and train your mind by using analogies and can use direct and indirect analogies. Okay, so that is also very critical. And he gave Professor Chakravarti gave examples of how do you use these two analogies. So, collaboration is the key to innovation, and his PhD work was in this direction only. Idea generation is the seed to innovation. And he gave the examples of the fuel pump, which had inspiration from the Nokia mobile phone. And this was the bullet pump for the metro. They had designed the Z line, which worked very effectively for the L&T group. Very effective, very a design that actually helped L&T grow a lot. This was done for the other company. And this is his model of collaboration, wherein at the core you have this core team followed supported by the support team and then the external team. And this is the innovation model which he has mentioned. These are the board of directors of the sign, and this is Professor Chakravarti sir. This is the sunflower model of innovation, where these are the different petals of research, technology, manufacturing, finance, design, marketing, distribution, strategic, people, and service. And he said that the just like the sunflower orients towards the sun, this model of innovation orients towards the user. So this is the class of ID Hyderabad and the students. So we are trying to understand about the business model, the underlying principles, practical framework, and the lean canvas and the business canvas. So lean canvas for the various customer segments, and you bridge together to form a business model. So this was the first example. The first question, if you refer to, it was about an aid for hearing and speech impaired. And they pivoted this thing offering and they came up with a cloud-based platform. And then he's giving more examples of other business models. And the Javed Habib, yeah. So although we don't have any question on double whammy, but it's a very interesting business model where you get benefits from both your from the two sides. So he is associated with the haircut industry, and he first created an academy which taught students the art of haircutting, and the students had to pay a certain fee to learn hairstyling. And then he started opening his chain of hair salons in which these students were hired. So he got the manpower for that saloons as well. Double whammy means getting paid from both ends of the value chain. Right? So in this case, if you remember, he's getting paid from the Habib Academy, where the students are paying fee to learn, and then he's also earning from his chain of hair salons. Duolingo is another business model which he referred to. Gets paid to translate the documents. Documents are in multiple languages, so that we have also seen as an example. So double whammy can be used only when there is a need for a very specific skill set. It's not something which is applicable everywhere. You have a skill set for which there is a large demand. So only in that scenarios you can use double whammy. Like don't mistake it for traders model. This is not an aggregate model. Okay. Examples of what is a traders model or listed broker. Okay. And then the fractional ownership business model in which he gave the case study of NetJets. Fractional ownership of jets, and we have already had a question on this particular thing, and we have, and then the business model of perceived shortage, like the Xiaomi, which comes only as a flash sale. It ends in 2 minute window, so it creates a sense that the products are available for a very very small duration, and it's a very interesting take of how they have positioned their product in the market and how they are utilizing a completely online approach for these products. And then the example of Zara, I think we had a question on this, and we have very well explained how Zara works out its stock of 90-day and limited window fashion cycle. The examples explain how business model can differentiate it from the competition. The author, it's his book, it's logical. It's a book written by Mr. Costa. And you can actually buy and learn more about it. The 5H and 1W model, we have already discussed this. And this is important. What are the channels? There are three types of channels. One is that how will you take your product to the customer, how the product is reaching the customer, what will be your marketing channels, how are you marketing, positioning, and how will you make your customers pay. Okay, so it should not be seen as just a means of reaching out, but think in these three perspectives. This is the lean canvas. So I said that for various customer segments, you can have various lean canvas and the business model. All right, so we have to set up the questions. And here we are at the closure. Okay, sorry. Okay. First, what we'll do is we'll just quickly take a PDF save. Because that is something which you have to quickly upload as well. Uh, PDF. Taking some time. Okay, this is. Meanwhile, let's open up our Swayam portal. So you'll have to log in by your Gmail account, whatever registered account is, you have to log in through that. And we are actually reaching out to our course. Okay. So if you see here, this is the announcement section, and the week 8 content is now live, which means that the content for week 8 is already available now. So week 7 we have just completed, and here is week 8. So week 8 you'll see the three lectures. So lecture 16 is about the sign incubator, right? And she is Miss Pratati, and we'll have later Miss Piney speaking here. Then we have, so it's a 1 hour video session for that. Then comes the lean model canvas by Sign Incubator. We have Mr. Rakesh Rajiv, it's a half an hour session. And then we have lecture 18, which is the story of atom bomb. And it's it's again a half an hour. So now you have a 2 hour course content available for the week 8, right? And then you have additional learning materials as well, which are the ALM. You can open up the drive and you can have a look at it. So depending upon the convenience and leisure, you can use this as a reference. And then you have we get assignments. Let's just have a look at the deadline of it, which is the 19th of March. So you've got sufficient time to submit your week 8 assignment. In fact, you also have time for your week 7 assignment. We'll just have a quick look at it. So it is 12th of March. So we are at 8th of March and you have 4 days. So you can very well submit it. That's there. Then comes the problem solving session. So like I said, if you click here, it will be leading to a different page. If you again click here, it will open up a spreadsheet. And this is how it looks like as of now. And if you click here, you'll be leading to a different drive location. Let's see if it is, I think it has been, okay. Week 8, yes, week 8 PDF is generated. Okay, sorry, week 7 PDF is generated. Today is week 7. Next will be our week 8. So that's there. What we'll do is I'll just quickly show you. Let's upload it right now as well, because then things will be sorted and will be free of mind in the same direction, right? Yeah. So I'll just copy these two details because we have done for the week 7. Meeting attendance I will be sharing later. Here is the drive. We have uploaded the drive. We have to upload a new file. So we'll upload a file upload for the week 8, week 7 PDF. So week 7 PDF is uploaded. As you can see, we'll do a refresh and yeah, it's there. Great. So one work is done. Uh, yeah. So once we close the meeting link, we'll be able to see the attendance as well. And coming back here, this we have already shown. We'll get back to here. Yeah. So if you click on the progress, there was another tab. Yeah. So grading and certification policy. This is something which has been added. So if you click here, these are the basic details. Exam time is 27th. Criteria of certificate is also there. 25, 75, which I've already explained, and then 10 and 30. Only e-certificates have been made available. Hard copies will not be dispatched. Okay. So this is how it will look like. This will be assessment score. So I have not submitted, so you won't be able to see my marks. But you will be able to submit your marks in the case you have been submitting it every week, right? And yeah, a few more links to open up and check. So download videos. If you click here, you will be leading to a different page through this link. Right. Now, if you go to downloads and the videos, you will be able to download all the lecture content. So even if it is not made available here, but through this particular link, you will be able to download it. All right. So there's a cheat code. You can download it. You can select the language and download it. Even the assignments you'll be able to see. Right. So that is also there. Very interesting. This is also a reference which you can get. Then there's a tier list. Yeah, so don't have my name here, I believe. It's fine. The statistics, how many people have enrolled, the courses till now, and this is the proposed list for different years. And certificate types. So you have silver, gold, elite, and completed, depending upon the score. You're given that. If you see here, let me just zoom in a bit. Yeah. There's a silver one, gold one, elite one, and completed one. Feedbacks you can give. If you feel like the syllabus is also there, you can refer to the syllabus. Let's go to the second link, which is the transcript. So if you feel like having a PDF to go through the content is much easier, you can go to the download now, and you will be able to see the different links which are available, right? Then comes your study material. So you also have the study material as a PDF, so you can actually have all the module wise content available, which are in the form of PDFs. And then comes your lecture notes. Lecture notes are also there. So there are enormous amount of content which will be helpful for you for preparing in the examination. So you can refer to those things. Here also you have lectures from 1 to 27, I guess. Yes, 27. And all these are presented in the form of presentations PDF. You can also refer to them. And finally, the problem solving session, which you have already seen and gone by. So that's also there, right? Uh, I don't think this should work. This is the registration link for examination. Close this window. We'll close this window as well. Fine, fine. I think we are done actually with the session. Uh, yeah, perfect. So what we'll do is now we'll close the session, and let me get back. Let me stop sharing my screen. So once again, thank you so much for being there. All those who were there, who attended the session, and who participated in the session, and who have been consistent visitors to this live sessions. I hope it is helping you in preparing for your examination, for preparing the content. And if you have any query, any doubts, you can please utilize discussion forum, and you can use this particular platform to ask your questions. With that, I'll conclude the session today. Namaskaram. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you.